If you work in university maintenance, Granger considers you an MVP because your playbook ensures your arena is always ready for tip-off. And Granger is your trusted partner, offering the products you need all in one place, from HVAC and plumbing supplies to lighting and more. And all delivered with plenty of time left on the clock, so your team always gets the win. Call 1-800-GRANGER, visit Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
When you manage procurement for multiple facilities, every order matters. But when it's for a hospital system, they matter even more. Grainger gets it and knows there's no time for managing multiple suppliers and no room for shipping delays. That's why Grainger offers millions of products in fast, dependable delivery, so you can keep your facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening, downloading, and subscribing to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I'm 12 Kyle. Check this out. On this podcast, what I'm going to talk about is the old saying, be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. Now, I know if you've been around for a little while, you've heard that term probably more than you can count. But I found in my lifetime that is actually quite true. And I was thinking about some things, and I heard that saying the other day, and it immediately brought me back to a couple of instances of people that I've come across, myself included, where you kind of wish for something and you ask for something and you really, really want it to happen. And then when it does, you're really not prepared for what happens next. And so, like I said, most of you listening have heard that term before. Be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. And when you get it, will you be ready and able to handle it? For most people, probably not. Case in point. I had a coworker at one point in time. This was years ago. And let's say his name was Devin. Devin and I worked together side by side. And Devin had been at the company that we worked for, I want to say maybe about 2 years prior to me arriving at the company. Devin was cool. I didn't have any problem with Devin. We got along pretty good. We laughed and, we got our work done. I'm the type of cat, I really don't, I'm really not there to make friends. I guess that's the best way I could put it. Now, if I happen to become friends with someone at work, then that's cool. But man, just give me my check, give me my respect. I don't need anything else. I don't need to be your buddy. I don't need to go fishing with you. I don't need to, be invited to your parties. None of that. And sometimes, if I'm invited, I don't show up anyway. But nonetheless, like I said, Devin and I were cool. Devin, for the most part, was a guy who worked pretty hard, and he got his job done. He was well liked. I can't really say that he was well respected. I think people thought he was a pretty decent guy or whatever. But he was just like everybody else, trying to make it, trying to, move up or whatever. And, when Devin got there, he let it be clear that, he had aspirations on becoming a part of management. Well, that comes with a caveat because, sometimes you can want something and, find out that it's not necessarily what you may think it's cracked up to be once you get it. But I would say the first 6 months, maybe a year that I worked with Devin like I said, we were cool. Everything was great. We worked in the same office. Devin eventually got promoted to be like manager of our office. Devin was, like I said, we worked together very well. Even going from working side by side to a position where he was now above me, if you will, as far as being my supervisor, nothing changed. He and I still had a great working relationship, and there was mutual respect there. He didn't get into my way, I didn't get in his way, and everything was cool. But again, even at that smaller level, Devin still had his eyes on being in the next level of upper management, if you will. So Devin decided to, kind of take things into his own hands. And, Devin was single at the time. And I want to say one of the executives in the company was also single as well. And I happened to intercept a phone conversation with one of the district managers and Devin. And, Devin, there was a call that he was taking in his office, but I just happened to walk into his office. And, he was being very, very, the look, I'll just put it like this. The look that he had on his face, plus the tone in which he was talking, I knew he was talking to someone where he was trying to spit game, right? That wasn't a regular business phone call. And when he told me who it was after he hung up the phone, I'm like, okay, so you trying to kick it to the district manager? You trying to, you really trying to smash the district manager? You think that's you think you go just bone your way up to the top? And apparently he did. Unbeknownst to me, as well as everybody else in our company, Devin had something going on with one of the district managers who happened to be married at the time. And so fast forward, this affair goes on for the better part of 6 months. And guess who gets a promotion? You guessed it, Devin. Devin has boned his way to district manager. So now he is not only, in a position of authority, he has, compromised his job, if you will, and, compromised himself and his morals, if you will, whatever the case may be. So Devin gets to be the district manager, right? You want to take a guess how long he lasted at that job, at that position? 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Unbeknownst to him, Devin had sent, between Devin and the district manager whom he had been sleeping with, there were some racy emails, if you will. There was a picture of Devin who decided to send a dick pic over company email to this district manager, and somebody in IT caught it. I don't know if someone was told to look for it or if someone was just being nosy. But one would think that, and this is in the early 2000s, so technology really wasn't what you might think it would be, but nonetheless, he got fired. He got fired, and the woman that he was sleeping with, the married woman he was having an affair with, she got fired too. Be careful what you ask for, because you just might get it. The next story I got, a friend of mine. Well, I can't really call her a friend. I'll say she was an associate, right? This young lady, she was always going around talking about guys, which is, typical. I mean, hey, knock yourself out. But she would always talk about guys, and she would always have this one saying. If there was a guy that she really, 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 really liked, she would say, you know what? I like him. I wouldn't mind having his baby. Now, I don't know who in their right mind would just say something that crazy, but she would say it quite often. I like him. I wouldn't mind having his baby. Now, keep in mind that, listen, kids are great. I love kids. I have 4 of my own. I have 4 because I don't want 5, right? So they're the best things that ever happened to me. God has truly blessed me with 4 beautiful children. But I wasn't necessarily trying to randomly make children with, people on the street. I found somebody, I married her, we got together, and we had these 4 kids together. And that's usually the way it works, or there's usually some type of compatibility between the 2 people who decide to have a child. But she would just say this about random people. And I know some of it was tongue in cheek, but I think deep down, Morgan really, really meant it. So fast forward, we happened to be hanging out one night, right? Hanging out at this club, downtown Atlanta. Shout out to Whiskey Peach. Rest in peace. Had some great nights at Whiskey Peach. Remind me to come back on this podcast. I wish I had time to tell you about some of the baddest nights I had at Whiskey Peach. Standing on couches in the VIP section, acting a fool. But it's not about me. Anyway, so we're at VIP. We're at Whiskey Peach one night, and we see, a guy. I don't even know the guy's name, but we were pretty regular, like our little crew or whatever. We're pretty regular at Whiskey Peach on Friday nights. That was our spot to hit, like our little team or whatever. We go in there, just have a good time. As a crew of us, we were probably about 7, 8 deep, men and women. And we were all friends, associates, whatever. We go in there, nobody's, trying to holler at each other. We're just in there just kicking and having a good time. Right. So Morgan sees this guy, and this guy he's there every week, just like we are. And, she told me, like, she saw me, like, what happened was, I never forget, they were playing Biggie, One More Chance. And I was going to the dance floor, and I had a drink in my hand, and he bumped into me. And he was like, yo, my bad. And when he bumped into me, I spilled a drink. He was like, yo, let me get you another one. So I was like, all right, cool. He's like, come with me. So we walked over. He was like, all right, whatever you got, I got you. So he got me another drink. So when Morgan saw me talking to this guy, she said, yo, who is that you were talking to? And I was like, well, I don't know the dude's name, but, I was talking to him. I said, he bumped into me. I spilled my drink. He wanted to buy me another drink. And she was like, he is so fine. I want to have his baby. Really? I mean, Biggie's playing right now. You talk about having a guy's baby. And so the next week, as soon as we get in Whiskey Peach, having a good time, drinking, having a ball, listening to music, she sees him and she makes a beeline toward him. And I mean, she just goes straight to him and, she just starts talking to him. And I think he was a little taken aback because, she really kind of came out of nowhere. He didn't see her coming, but she had her eyes on him from the moment he walked into the club. So they start kicking it. They dance, exchange numbers, the whole 9. She hit me up a couple of days later, like, yo, I talked to him. He's so nice. He's this, he's that. She's telling me all of his statistics. He's a great guy. he graduated from Georgia Tech, and he's going to be a doctor and all of this other stuff. I want to have his baby. Okay. And so a couple of weeks pass, and, we go back to Whiskey Peach, and there he is again. And this time they spend the whole night together. We didn't even see Morgan most of the night. She was dancing with him. And so subsequently that night, Morgan goes home with him. And I think I talked to Morgan maybe about 3 or 4 days after that. And Morgan tells me that, she gave up the draws. And guess what? That night, Morgan got pregnant. Didn't really know much about the guy, but here she was having his baby. And subsequently, things really didn't work out. A couple of months into her pregnancy, unfortunately, they fell out. Whatever friendship or relationship that they had didn't work. He ended up moving away, and she had the baby. And, some 13, 14 years later, I think he's still pretty active in the child's life, but they don't have a relationship. But she wanted a baby. Be careful what you ask for, because you just might get it. And last but not least, there's a story about me, of course. As you know, from time to time, I will indulge you guys. You guys like when I tell stories about myself. I did have a story about a girl. This is when I was in college. I think I was like a sophomore, I think. Yeah, I think it's like my sophomore year at South Carolina State University. Shout out to my alma mater. I was at this point in my life where I wanted a girlfriend. And, I think we all get to a point, where you want to be single. And then sometimes you get to a point where you want to be in a relationship. And at this particular time, I wanted to be in a relationship. And that's just where I was. And I was like, I don't know, for lack of a better term, I think I was kind of hell bent on being in a relationship. And, I really wasn't using the best of judgment in trying to find girls to be in a relationship. Because at that time I was just like, I was trying to go all in. Like, I wasn't really trying to, kind of slow and take the process or anything. I wanted a girlfriend, plain and simple. I wanted a girlfriend. And, this was, my motto. I want a girl when I want a girl. And this was a particular time where I wanted a girl. So, but again, be careful what you ask for, because you just might get it. Anyway, so I meet this girl on campus, and she is so cool. We met, through some friends or whatever. We met at a party, just standing around talking, really. We had a couple of friends who were mutual friends, and we just started talking at a party. It was nothing more, nothing less, and that was it. And everything was cool. And then I saw her again a couple of days later on campus by the gym, and we exchanged phone numbers. And it was cool. I got to talking to her. First and foremost, she was mad cute, right? So that was a plus. She was mad cute. And so I was very intrigued by our conversations. She was very, very deep. I'm talking, on the mental, pro-black, put on a dashiki deep. So our conversations were really, really cool. And so I was impressed. I was really impressed. And I don't necessarily know if she was trying to impress me, but I was very impressed. And then one day she hit me up and she was like, yo, do you want to go to dinner? And I was like, sure. I mean, why wouldn't I? I'm a broke college student. I'm not going to I'm not going to turn down dinner, especially if you're paying. So I was like, I'm free. There was nothing. I didn't have anything going on that particular night. I finished practice and the night was free. I didn't have any studying to do. So we went to dinner. She took me to this really nice restaurant. And so we're in the restaurant and she was like, hey, I have a gift for you. And I was like, word. And she goes in her bag and she pulls out this like bracelet, like a Figaro bracelet, a gold Figaro bracelet, and which is dope back in the 90s. So I'm not into jewelry like that, but it was nice. So I was like, yo, thanks. I really appreciate it. And so I was blown away. So here it is. We got great conversation. She got me a gift. And then I think like we talked for maybe a couple more weeks. And then I remember one weekend I was going home and, she called me when I went home and, this was long distance. So anyway, this goes on. This is like 2 weeks. So this is going strong. So here it is. I want a girl and she might be the one until she wasn't. So I went home one weekend and she called me that weekend. So when I got back, we had agreed to, hang out or whatever. So I went to her dorm. And when I went to her dorm, we stood in front of her dorm and we talked. And we talked for, I don't know, maybe about an hour or so. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm going to walk back to my dorm. I'll call you later. Oh, no, I said, just call me later. And so this was back in the day when there were answering machines, right? So I had an answering machine. So it's literally a 3-minute walk from her dorm to my dorm. Keep that in mind, 3 minutes. And so what I did was when I left her, I walked back to my dorm, but I didn't go straight to my room. I went to, one of my boys' rooms. They were in there playing, Sega Genesis, and we got to talking, and, I kind of lost track of time. And it may have been an hour between the time that I left her and the time that, I got back to my dorm. When I got in the room and checked my voice messages on my answer machine, I had 23 messages from her. 23 messages within an hour. Hey, this is Bleep. Just calling. You told me to call you, so I was just calling. Call me back. Click. Message 2. Hey, this is Bleep. I left you a message earlier. Don't know if you got it. Just calling you back. Give me a call back. Click. Hey, it's me. I'm thinking about you. Where are you? Click. Beep. Hey, it's me again. Not sure if you got my other messages. Bruh. 23 voicemails. Who in the hell leaves somebody 23 voicemails? I have this theory. If you don't get me on the first time, leave me a voicemail. That's it. You don't have to call back. I was done. That was it. I should have not accepted the Figaro bracelet. I probably shouldn't have accepted dinner, but that was a warning. Those were the warning signs. That right there, those voice messages, that let me know she's crazy. I can't do this. I cannot do this. So I called her the next day and I was like, look, you know what? It's probably best if I give you back your bracelet and we just be cool. And that was it. She didn't like it, but that's what I get for wanting a girlfriend. I kept telling everybody, yo, I want a girlfriend. I want a girlfriend. Be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. That's going to do it for me. Thanks again for checking out the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I'm your boy 12 Kyle. I'll catch you guys next time. 5,000.
When you manage procurement for multiple facilities, every order matters. But when it's for a hospital system, they matter even more. Grainger gets it and knows there's no time for managing multiple suppliers and no room for shipping delays. That's why Grainger offers millions of products in fast, dependable delivery, so you can keep your facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
In June 2026, the world's grandest tall ships sail into Norfolk and the Chesapeake Bay region for Sail 250 Virginia. Honor America's 250th with festivals, fireworks, and the iconic Parade of Sail. Together, we're making history again. Learn more at sail250virginia.com.